I feel like one of the scariest things right now, and I feel like I've been vindicated on this, and I feel like it's like it just happens every single day, is that the scariest thing for me is there is no line for what conservatives are willing to defend if Trump demands that you defend it. And I'm worried that one day Trump is truly going to go unhinged, whether it's this invocation of the Insurrection Act or something, where Trump's like, we need to, this would be the most extreme, like, we need to kill non-citizens, or we need to start deporting liberals or whatever. And I feel like a sizable chunk of conservatives would just defend it, because I've seen them defend things that I never would have imagined. There's so many different things that are beyond the pale that are very scary to me.
And you watch kind of the strategies they use, even when they don't defend stuff. No matter what happens, if they feel like they can't defend it, they will change the subject, or they will attack the left, or they will call it Trump derangement syndrome.
They use minimizing language too. Yeah, they'll be like, yeah, Trump was goofy when he did this thing. And we'll be talking about like the deportation of American green card holders. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, you can't imagine it. This is the selection process that I talked about. And yeah, it's yeah, there's nothing like there was a Washington Post report about how the tariff decision got made. I mean, this is a big deal, right? This tariffs, 30-40% most of the world. And basically nobody no one will criticize. Miller and Vance at some point say, whatever you want to do, we'll do it. Vance goes off Twitter for like 5 days, then comes back to like talk about illegal immigration. And yeah, I mean, this is like, it's a Darwinian process that's kind of led to the triumph of like the slimiest and most dishonest and most ass-kissing people, and it's what the audience wants. I mean, that's kind of the depressing thing, and kind of the key point here. And so, yeah, I mean, look, I will say there have been some people, I think, who've slipped through the administration who are not 100% cultists. So like no one with like a public profile that's got 1 million Twitter followers is going to talk against it. Probably not the cabinet people, but there will be people who kind of like, I think Scott Bessent is a kind of guy who's like, he's played this ass kissing game, but at the same time he knows he's crazy and is trying to play the game. You can't get 100%. The selection is not 100%. So that's the hope. I mean, but like mostly we can't rely on that. Like we're gonna need serious
people to actually stand up and say no. Yeah, that's the scary thing, is just how much loyalty, I guess, is demanded, because then we don't have anybody pumping the brakes on insane shit. Like there are so many things I've spoken about in the past where like a chatter will come in and ask a question and be like, we don't really think about stuff like that because it's not a real question. Like a common thing we'll get when like monetary policy comes up or whatever, or macroecon comes up, people say things like, what happens if the US defaults on the debt? And I was like, we just don't really think about that. That's just not a thing that serious people talk about, because it's just impossible, But now that we're at an area where we're talking about like 10% tariffs on the entire world, and that's happened, and we initially were tariffing like, what was our average tariff rate? Like 40%? And we're at like 145 or 240 for some goods coming from China. Yeah, and we're like, well, when we're in that world, and I hate it. I don't even want to say this worked, because I don't think it was ever intentional. I think Trump just actually got a little bit skittish because of the treasury yields. When we're in a world where 10% tariffs on the entire world is like an okay thing from where we came from, which was the wacky roller coaster tariffs of random percentages on everybody, right? What the fuck? That in and of itself, I would have said probably was like an equally wacky position. It was like, what if Trump actually tariffs like 10% of everybody? It's like, this is the thing. Well, I said we should consider this in 2024 because Trump was saying it over and over again. But like ordinarily, we wouldn't consider like worldwide tariffs. I mean, it's a violation of WTO stuff. It would nuke a lot of our trading relationships. It would isolate us from the entire world. Like it wouldn't even stimulate domestic manufacturing, because now why would you build something in the US when you can't trade with anybody else without being tariffed? Like this just wouldn't happen. And now we're there. And it's like, fuck, like what else could that be the case on,
Yeah, I mean, I think the big one that the markets are worried about is firing Jerome Powell. People who know something about economics say, and by the way, Jerome Powell's he doesn't even have to fire him. 2026, his term runs out.
Yeah.
And so Trump is gonna, appoint some guy he sees on Fox News who's just gonna do whatever he wants. I mean, it's hard to imagine him appointing someone who's kind of a serious person. And so there's that. He might just wake up one day and say defaulting on the debt is a big deal. Now, there's reports this morning that they're looking for Hexeth's replacement. Like there's a chance he's I don't want to be optimistic at all, because
he's not being replaced with somebody more responsible. That's never happening. But
You might, I mean, he might realize at some point it's in his interest, but I do believe now that like it's in his interest to kind of wreck the country because look, if he's got that 35-40% base and he just wants the feeling of like CEOs like coming into him hand in hand and like all these leaders and him being the belle of the ball. If all he wants, this is the North Korean model,
Hmm.
right? You wreck the country, but you have absolute power. Yeah, I don't even see the incentive. I mean, we've got to hope that like, and I'm not even confident this will happen. Like Democrats just need to crush them and like these. I was not, when they won the Wisconsin race,
Hmm.
10 points, but like yeah, I mean these aren't the numbers that I'm going to be confident enough for the same because they always do well. They're the educated party now. They do well in these kind of strange data, these elections on strange unusual dates.
Hmm.
And so yeah, we're going to kind of need like something like that. But just Elon's money and like Trump's charisma and kind of the shamelessness and like the Twitter censorship and the Twitter
Jesus.
no, not even censorship, the boosting of the right wing slop. Yeah, I'm worried. I mean, Democrats have gotta figure this out.